And you guys sitting here, okay. Proud to start with our elementary school music program. And we think it's very important that you know as much as possible about our program. Do I have in the audience out there my school principals? Would you please come up, Joanna and Laura? Let's give them a round of applause. I'm going to turn the microphone over to you folks to explain the growing music program at the elementary level. You're on.
Thank you, Dr. Valenti. Thank you, Board of Education, for having us here. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us to celebrate tonight the incredible talents of our students. Our music program here in Eastchester at both Ann Hutch and Greenvale spans grades 2 through 5, providing students with the opportunity to explore and develop their musical talents. They have the opportunity to dive into many instruments over the course of their 4 years in elementary school. In 3rd grade, they begin their journey with the recorder, and by 5th grade, they're moving on to the ukulele, which is a new addition to both of our programs. And in 4th and 5th grade, they can also participate in our band, chorus, and orchestra, which has grown tremendously over these past few years, and showcasing their growing talents and skills, and especially their passion for music. A heartfelt thank you to our dedicated music teachers, Nick Natali, Allie Linen, Mackenzie Hoffman, and Rebecca Mancuso, whose tireless work and unwavering support have not only nurtured the talents of our students, but have also grown our music program. Their commitment has allowed us to build a strong foundation in music that we look forward to continuing as they move on to middle school and high school. We would also like to extend a very special thank you to the Board of Education for adding an additional music teacher to the music department and program last year. This addition has made a world of difference and grow musically. We are so excited for the future of our program and the incredible opportunities it has for our students. So on behalf of Laura Cappiello and myself, thank you so much for giving us that additional music teacher. Parents, thank you for allowing your children to grow musically with us. We are so proud of our program. It's really incredible. And I'd like to turn it over to Rebecca, who's going to start the program off for us. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Before our performers get started, I just wanted to highlight a little bit more about each section of our program. So I'll be speaking towards our general music program, which is the music that every student in 2nd through 5th grade receives at both Ann Hutchinson and Greenvale. As already mentioned as some highlights, we have the recorder in 3rd grade and now our ukuleles in 5th. But of course, we also want to highlight our 2nd grade showcase, which you'll get a little taste of tonight. And in 4th grade, how we focus a lot on folk songs and musical elements. Within the last few years, we've really focused on growing our music curriculum, updating the curriculum to better match the current standards, both nationally and statewide. And we've done that through choosing a unified curriculum at both schools. That's the game plan curriculum. It's a highly regarded curriculum locally and nationally. And this is a way that we're able to better prepare students for their future music education in band, orchestra, chorus, at the middle school, and beyond. So without further ado, for a treat tonight, we have some of our Ann Hutchinson 2nd graders who performed just a couple weeks ago. And they'll be singing 2 songs for you tonight on the theme of friendship.
You got a friend in me. We're the roller
And we'll now be transitioning to our band program. One moment, please.
Want to play the drums? You gotta all be there.
You want to say a few words?
Thank you all. My name is Mr. Natali, and I teach band at both Greenvale and Ann Hutch. It's such a wonderful transition between 2nd and 5th grade band, the progression that students make. We, in band, can play woodwind, brass, and percussion instruments. And we can play a lot of styles. This first style is a cha-cha, and it comes from Cuban dance music. It's called Caribbean Breeze by Victor Lopez. Thank you all so much. So this is the band, this is the 5th grade band from both Greenvale and Ann Hutch. Greenvale, raise your hand. So 4 students from Greenvale. Ann Hutch, raise your hand. All right, so we have 4 and 4, and these students have been working on that song. That was one of their spring concert pieces. And now we're going to transition to the orchestra component of our program and just allow us a couple minutes or about a minute or so to transition the stage and allow Ms. Hoffman to come up and talk to you about orchestra. Thank you, band.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Board of Education for having us today. So my name is Miss Hoffman. I am the new orchestra teacher for Ann Hutchinson and for Greenvale. The orchestra position is the position that was added this year, and we've been able to do a lot of awesome things because we have an extra faculty member. So some of the things is, the orchestra program is bigger than it ever has been before. We have more double basses, more cellos, more violas, just everything is bigger. And because of that, and because of my position, even though it's bigger, we're still able to keep our small groups that meet every day on days 1 through 6 in the 6-day cycle small. So before we were having 7 to 10 kids in a group. Now we have around 4 to 6. So we are able to specialize instruction for those string students and make sure every student is able to thrive on their instrument. The other thing that is new is we are able to create cohesion between the two curriculums. Before you had someone at Ann Hutch teaching and someone at Greenvale. Now it's just me for both. So hopefully when they go and move on to 6th grade, the transition for their new teacher will be seamless and they will be able to thrive there. The performers I have for you today are a wind group. So they meet every day 4 in the wind cycle for about 30 minutes. And we've been working on technique, not only our orchestra music, but today we've prepared for you a small ensemble piece that we've been working really hard on together. And I thought this would be a great way to showcase our talents. So I'm gonna have my performers introduce themselves. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Audrey. Hi, I'm Dorothy.
And this is the song Intensity by Sean O'Loughlin.
And now we have Miss Lennon presenting the Greenville Chorus, so we'll clear the stage.
Good evening. My name is Miss Lennon. I teach general music as well as chorus at Greenville Elementary School. Thank you again to the board for having us. This is such a wonderful opportunity, and I think my colleagues would agree. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to showcase our students' talents. Just a brief overview of the 4th and 5th chorus program at Greenville. Some objectives that we have are to develop healthy vocal technique. We do this through lots of warm-ups, and we do really get creative with those warm-ups. Strengthening musical literacy through reading music on standard notation, building confidence through lots of performance opportunities, as well as fostering teamwork, which you're definitely going to see a lot of today. And of course, cultivating a lifelong appreciation of music. We do practice a lot of vocal health skills as well, such as breath support, pitch matching, diction, so pronouncing our words nice and clearly. And something special that you're going to get to see today is 2-part harmony, as well as singing in a language other than English. So the song that we're going to be performing for you is by Greg Gilpin, and it's called Akatombo, which is a Japanese folk song, which translates to Red Dragonfly. So from left to right, our performers, if you could just give a little wave: Caroline Weber, Caitlin McGinley, Jackson Nicolosi, May Hayano, Aria Freyna, Isabel Chin, and Caitlin Thompson. We hope you enjoy. And once again, thank you so much to the superintendent, Dr. Valenti, as well as the board. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And also, thank you to our technicians and our custodians. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay? So continuing with our program, we would now like to introduce Lauren Stippo from Eastchester High School, the advisor to the Future Business Leaders of America program, and she will introduce the FBLA members. Let's welcome Laura. Laura?
Good evening, and thank you to the board for having us here this evening. I'm Lauren Stipo, and I'm a business teacher here at the high school. Future Business Leaders of America is the world's largest business, career, and technical student organization in the world. We started the Eastchester chapter in 2020. The students compete in over 70 different competitions in business, computers, and social sciences. We've now competed at the national level in Georgia, Florida, Illinois, and this year we're off to California. There are between 17 and 20,000 students at nationals when we go to compete. Due to the high cost of attendance, we usually have between 2 and 4 students a year that are able to go to nationals. So we thank you for supporting this program, and I hope that many more of our Eastchester students are able to participate in the future. And this, tonight, the 4 students that will be traveling to Anaheim this year are with me. They would each like to tell you a little bit about what they will be competing in and what their experience has been with FBLA. First, I would like to introduce Kaya Nolan, who is our president, and actually one of the students that won second in nationals in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're very proud of that accomplishment. And so, Kaya, would you like to say a few words?
Hello, board members and members of the community. I'm Kaya Nolan, and I am the incumbent president of Eastchester's chapter, the Future Business Leaders of America. Now, being president is kind of hard to believe, even as I stand here now, because when I first joined this club in my sophomore year, as surprising as it is to say, looking back, that was the first club I had participated in since I was in 5th grade. And the reason for this was not just because of some self-sacrificial reason. There was no crazy things going on at home. It was simply that I was prideful. I thought that if I performed well enough academically, I wouldn't need any sort of extracurriculars such as clubs to support my academic record, and that any real tangible skills I would learn from school could be easily acquiesced through just common courses. But after my parents pestered me enough, I eventually joined FBLA because I had an interest in business, and I hadn't taken that many business classes at the time, and I quickly found that my previous presumptions were completely wrong. Just in general, joining a club, in particular FBLA, which is an organization that requires a lot of preparation for our competitions, because on the state level, you're dealing with possibly 100 people you're competing with, up to several hundred on the national level, and you really need to know your topics inside and out. And that was not a level of dedication that I'd really been required to learn from my base classes. And I quickly found that having to participate in a club, which is not something required by the school that I actually had to will myself to do, was a very different feeling. And it was a whole new life lesson that I learned that was a lot more important than honestly anything else I'd learned in my class thus far, and it helped me with the rest of my academic career. So to that, I'm very grateful for FBLA. My first year when I joined, I jumped completely into the deep end. I had, as I said, I had not really participated in a club before, and worse than that, I didn't know anybody in the club, so everyone was complete strangers to me, and I had no familiar faces. But despite that, I would go on to compete at the state level that year in Rochester, New York, where I would eventually win 3rd place in the advertising testing event. And from there, I would go on to compete in Atlanta, Georgia on the national level, where to this day, I don't know how, I won second place on a national level against what I think is around several hundred people. It was part dedication, but there's some divine grace in there too that let me win that day, I would hope. But from there, I've competed at Rochester at the state level multiple times now and have gone on to compete at nationals every year, including this year. This year at the state level, I competed in hospitality and event management, which I won second place in, and then another event, the help desk event, which I placed first in. And help desk is the event I will be going into for my national competition this year. The reason why I chose help desk is because, well, regardless of what industry I go into, whether I do go into business or something else, everything essentially functions as a business in this world. And the most important part of a business, although it's often the unsung hero, are the help desk and the general people that deal with the customers and receiving customer feedback and addressing customer mistakes. Because you cannot have a successful business without having some form of interface between the customer and the supplier. Because if you produce something that is disliked by customers, has consistent issues that are not amended in some way, then you're ultimately going to fail. And I think that it's very important, even for the rest of my life, that I familiarize myself with how to run a help desk and how to confidently address customer concerns and learn from our mistakes and improve our product, and in general, just receive feedback from customers. So that is essentially what motivates me to pursue this event at the national level. I'm very thankful to be able to come to speak before you guys to express my gratitude for providing the fiscal aid that you have given all of us to attend our national competitions in Anaheim, California this year. Although this is my last year and it's kind of a nice little goodbye to everything I've done with FBLA. I'm very excited that some of our newer members, such as the ones you'll meet in a second, have an opportunity to be able to attend this. Because FBLA, like the awards I've won, were integral to my college applications and providing a strong student resume, because unlike some of the more common ones like science competitions or any other sort of like nonprofit awards, these are less common, but they're also equally as valuable. So it provides a nice alternative route for students to receive high value awards to put on their application. And I definitely don't think I would have gotten into the school I did, which was my ideal school, if I had not been in FBLA and won these awards and put in the dedication. And in general, as I said before, FBLA is more than just the competitions of putting things on your transcript to look good. It's also about learning dedication that you really can't find in many other places. These are very hard events, and all of our members here tonight have worked very hard to get where they are and compete at the national level. And I'm just very grateful that all of them can come here today and also express just how much this club means to them. And I'd like to introduce my fellow members. We have Nomun Undrak, who is my vice president, and she's a junior. Chloe Liu, who is a freshman, and Gabriela Gonzalez Bello, who's a sophomore. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nomun Undrak. I joined FBLA the same year as Kaya, and I'm now a junior. When I first joined this club 3 years ago, as a freshman who wasn't even sure what a business leader was, I wasn't expecting this club to be as important as it is to me today. It sounded interesting, and my friends were in it, and there was also a box of snacks in Ms. Depot's room that certainly helped. But since then, the club has become so much more to me than just a box of snacks. I've competed at the State Leadership Conference 3 times in the past years, and this year I competed in advertising, public policy, and business communications. I placed second in business communications and advertising, and which qualified me for nationals. This summer, we're all heading to California, and I'm competing in advertising because advertising affects us all. I don't think most of us realize it, but everything we do today is based on the advertising we see in commercials, in YouTube videos, and targeted Instagram ads. It's a really powerful tool, and I think I want to learn more about it. So I just want to say thank you to you all for allowing me to go to California alongside my club mates here, and we all appreciate this opportunity. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Gabriela next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriela Gonzalez Bello, and I am a new member of FBLA in 10th grade, and proud to be where I am now in my business education. In my early days of being a member of this club, I was quite nervous since I was new to this whole idea of competitive events and leadership. However, I knew that stepping out of my comfort zone and would bring me to more opportunities and experiences that would help me develop to be a stronger person. Additionally, what led me to joining FBLA was because of my interest in business. After taking electives such as personal finance and intro to business, I realized that FBLA was the perfect space for me to explore many fields of business and pursue my passion. For my first year in FBLA, I competed in intro to marketing, human resources management, and insurance and risk management. As a result, I placed third in human resources and placed fifth in insurance and risk management. This summer in California, I will be competing in human resources management event because of its importance in the business world. It is an aspect that allows employees' productivity and well-being to align with an organization's goals and therefore thrive. Lastly, I would like to thank you, each and one of you, for granting us the opportunity to compete in California. It is truly an honor to have the support of the board in continuing my FBLA journey. Thank you. I would like to introduce all of you to Chloe Liu.
Hi, my name is Chloe. I'm a freshman here at Orchestra. This is my first year. I joined FBLA this year. Yeah, pretty cool. I originally joined it. I saw the beginning of the year they gave all the freshmen a whole list of clubs and stuff, and I was I wasn't totally interested in a bunch of them, but I saw FBLA Future Business Leaders, and I was like, hey, that sounds kind of cool. So I was like, why not give it a shot? I came to a few of the club meetings, and we started learning more about business and stuff, and what we'd be doing at Orchestra, and I was like, that sounds like something I'd be interested in, because I don't know, business is pretty cool. I competed this year. I competed in 3 different events. I competed in Intro to Parliamentary Procedure, Intro to FBLA, and then Journalism. And I'm going to California and competing in Journalism. Originally, I picked Journalism. Overall, I really like writing. I like reading the newspapers and stuff. And I feel all that's very still relevant. All the writing and stuff with catching up with the daily stuff. For states, I'm so sorry, I'm really nervous. Okay, for states, I placed top 5 for journalism, so that's why I'm competing it in California. Again, like I said, journalism, it's been a big part of my life. I love reading and writing, and just I have a blog too, which I think is pretty cool. I put out stuff, yeah. Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you so much for the opportunity for this. Yeah, I'm sorry, but thank you. Have a good night.
Michael? Yeah, so. How's this? You got everybody, Mike? Yep, we're all good. Thank you. Okay, great. You're an actual speaker, you know that. You enjoy communication. That's great.
Kai.
So I hope this helps you
Kaya.
guys do
Kaya.
well in California.
I have a question. Where are you going to school? We're on the edge of our seat.
Come on.
I will be attending Northeastern University in the fall.
All right.
I think he enjoys the microphone, too. You might be a future superintendent.
I wouldn't write it off.
Okay.
I would definitely consider it.
Good.
If I have your blessing, then anything's possible.
You have my blessing, okay? Very good. Take care. And the board was very generous in helping them get to California as a club. That's part of what we need to do to encourage the students, and we wish you all the success. Laura, did you want to say a few words?
I just want to thank you all for the opportunity. I've loved running this club for the last 5 years, and I really hope that we can grow it. And do you have any questions for me or for any of the students up here?
I do.
Christy.
Yes, sorry.
Sure.
This is phenomenal. Really great job, everybody. But I'm curious, so when you compete, is it public speaking? Is it projects? Is it debating?
That's a great question. So there's 70 competitions, and they're all different. So some of them are public speaking, some of them are role playing, where they're given a case study and the judges ask them questions, like I think Kaya's help desk one is. Some of them are tests, objective tests, where they just sit down, 100 multiple choice questions. Some of them they work in groups, some of them they work by themselves. So each competition is completely different in how it's presented to the judges, which is nice too, because some of them want to work on their public speaking, let's say, or are really good at public speaking, like Kaya. And Kaya's graduating on Friday night and getting on a plane first thing Saturday morning to go to Anaheim. So I give him a lot of credit for that. He's been with us a long time. So, any other questions? Thank you.
So staying in tune with student recognition and staying in tune with the high school, I think the board certainly and the community knows that under the new state law, we now will have student board members effective July 1st. We're very proud tonight to announce that Eastchester is going to have 2 board members representing them. Luke Ambrulio, who will be a representative to the Southern Westchester BOCES Board of Education, and Elias Alexander, who will be our student board member effective July 1. Gentlemen, would you please come to the microphone? Okay, board member-elect, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure.
To your
Hello, everyone. I'm Elias Alexander, and I'm the new student representative here at Eastchester. I'm a sophomore here, and I'm really excited to be able to work with all of you and be able to advocate for student body and my peers' needs and stuff. And yeah, thank you guys. Nice to meet all of you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luke Ambrosio. I am a junior currently at Eastchester High School, and I will be the representative for Southern Westchester BOCES, and I'm just glad to be able to represent my student body and better help our needs. So thank you very much.
In fact, I just received a letter today, Luke, from the BOCES board. They expect you on July 2nd at 5:30 p.m. to meet with Dr. Coles and the board members for your workshop, and the board meeting will be later that evening. So I'm sure they've let you know that, okay? Elias, I'm sure you'll be hearing from our board shortly, too. Okay, welcome aboard. We're also honored tonight to have with us our 2025 high school valedictorian and salutatorian. Would the valedictorian and salutatorian come and join us at the microphone? Okay, Aiden and Grace. Aiden and Grace, welcome. Okay. Would you like to speak first, Aiden?
Sure. Thank you, everyone, so much. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate all the support I've had throughout my 4 years at Eastchester. I wouldn't have been able to do this without incredible teachers and students and everyone in this community, because they make Eastchester special and unique, and I wouldn't have been able to make all these accomplishments without their help. So thank you all.
Hi, I'm Grace. Just similar to what Aiden was saying, I think the support that I've received at Eastchester, especially from my teachers, has just been really incredible, and has shaped me into the student and person that I am today. There were times that I'd email my teachers at crazy hours of the night, and they'd always get back to me, and they were always just willing to put in that extra hour to really make sure all the students could reach their full potential and succeed. So I think that's the best thing about Eastchester, is that we have such a community that's willing to help us. And thank you to everyone for your guys' support, also just to the school itself. And I think building up the school community is such a huge reason why the students are able to be successful.
Tell us where you're going to college next year.
Oh, I'm going to Boston College.
I'm attending Cornell University.
So now the main event, believe it or not, after all the other events of the evening, we're going to invite to the microphone Dr. Bill Meyer, and he has a team that will be talking to you about our Panorama survey results. Dr. Meyer, please.
All right, thank you so much. Holy moly, what an evening. So, you know, sometimes you're put last and it's a little nerve-wracking, especially after all of those performances, but honestly, could not have been better planned. Basically, tonight's whole presentation is summed up in that acoustic set we saw at the beginning, like Lean on Me, You Got a Friend in Me, like that's essentially at the essence of what we're gonna focus on as we talk about the Panorama survey and some of the work that we've done over the last several months and year. The unique thing about Eastchester, as we all know and was so well represented this evening, is how it really truly values the whole person. It's not just about the mind, it's not just about the arts, it's not just about the stage, it's about the community, it's about the being, and probably more than anything, which I think we recognize in our own lives, it's about the emotional aspects of ourselves. And when you place that emphasis on the emotional piece, that's not an easy aspect to quantify. It's difficult to measure. It's even more difficult to have an impact on. But it truly is the essence of who we are in our interaction and the communities in which we create and live in. Panorama is a really unique organization because it works to start to benchmark some of those interior aspects. So this was an organization that was founded over a decade ago, and they create probably, if not nationally, globally, one of the most robust tools in the industry for capturing, I would say, sort of the school climate, student engagement, and most of all, the social emotional learning that's taking place within a building and a community. When we took on this idea of how can we measure the work and its impact that we're doing, and there's so many incredible initiatives. You know them better than I in terms of Ruler, Second Step, DBT, the Source Center, all of the work that our counselors and our psychologists do. How do we measure the impact on our students, and how do we even take a temperature of where our students are at? And so we looked at this tool as a really important instrument. So over the course of 3 weeks in mid-March up until spring break in early April, we had our counselors go out and offer the survey to every student from grades 3 to 12. So we had over 80% participation in the survey, which is great. That's what you want. You know, when you're trying to take the temperature, especially the emotional temperature of a community and school, you really want to break that threshold, and that's what we were able to do. And we got back the results, and we got together both as psychologists, as counselors, as school building administrators, and we started to work our way through them. What do these results mean? What are the findings show? What are our strengths? What are the places to work on? And that's what we really want to highlight tonight in this presentation. Now, this is a very rich data set. And what I'm going to highlight today, I would say, is probably like the 30,000-foot view for the audience in general. Although in front of you, I've given some more detailed results for the board members. But honestly, it gets even more detailed in terms of what we're able to aggregate and identify in our students. So let's talk a little bit about those results. Let's unpack maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then I want to highlight the work that we've done to get here. But honestly, I mean, basically what you've seen up to this point this evening has highlighted much of that work and why we're where we're at. So when we started to survey, we surveyed first the elementary grades, and you start at 3 through 5. So just contextually to know, these are self-reported tools. So students are sitting down and self-reporting. So their own understanding, their own language is very important. The tool works to ask developmentally appropriate questions. But by far, what you see, and this was represented tonight, right, and reflected this evening, is the strength of supportive relationships within our buildings, within our community, and within our schools, right? This is the bread and butter of education. Having trusted adults, feeling like there's someone you could turn to connect with. And as we go through the results, we can also see this is an overview of some of the indicators. Some of the areas for growth, particularly for our younger students, is really related to emotions, emotional regulation. That's not surprising. I mean, we all struggle to regulate our emotions, some better than others, and it's definitely a challenge at the younger age. What I thought I would share this evening too, which I think is worthwhile, and there's other examples of this. There's several open-ended questions that the survey explores. So this breaks beyond just those multiple choice answers and asks kids, think about everything in your life right now. What feels the hardest for you? Well, first of all, it shouldn't be any surprise to us. Sister and brother is up there. I mean, I know I have a lot of angst with my own sisters. I hate to tell them this never goes away. There's no intervention that helps you with family, right? No, but in truth, in all seriousness, right, we have state tests, a lot of testing surfacing, anxiety, math tests, schoolwork. And I just put this out there so that we can just get just a snapshot of the landscape of what students are working through and making sense of. The unique thing about this tool, I'd also like to add, is that it is anonymous, but it's not completely anonymous. So when we did have results that were concerning, we were able to actually identify those students by their student ID numbers and follow up with them appropriately. So we're not looking to surface their names, but rather to support them. Now, the data gets really interesting when you start to compare it to the high school. Now, we did a Pearson correlation, some work with Pearson correlation to look at some of the regressions and what existed here. You could not get a stronger correlation between our elementary student responses and our high school responses, or I should say middle high school. Now, these tests are taken completely separately, but the data is very consistent across both, which actually is good news for us, and I'll explain why that's good news. First of all, again, a strength, supportive relationships. At the secondary level, in the middle and the high school, you see 85% students reporting, having strong supportive relationships within their classroom environment. At the bottom end of that, again, emotion regulation, and this could not be more fittings in terms of we think about why we're rolling out Ruler, why we're doing the work we're doing, in terms of the consistency of this data. And the other piece, this idea of challenging feelings, this also can connect to perseverance, managing also discord that might exist between friends within the classroom. And I'll unpack some of these more specifically, but also like the younger students, secondary level was asked, what is one of the hardest things for you at the moment? Very, very similar, right? We see, again, schoolwork, college, future, all of these forces that speak to some of the pressures and the emphasis that students are facing in their day-to-day lives. And I think more than anything, for us to recognize how scheduled they are, how much pressure they're on, and how we can best support them. So this really speaks to, I think, what we intuitively know, but the data is so profound and so powerful in thinking about where we go forward from here. So there were 3 areas I just wanted to unpack, because I think this is important to note before we talk a little bit about the work that's going on across the buildings. First of all, supportive relationships. I cannot emphasize this enough. And if you think about at the essence of this question, it's how supported students feel through their relationships with friends, family, and adults at school. And again, this was the strength of our community. This is the strength of our community. And if you look at the research, you look at the data beyond this tool, you will recognize that the strongest indicator and one of the strongest protective factors for not just a student's mental health, but physical health and well-being and success in school is how connected they feel to the adults and the mentors that they have within the building. So this is really kudos to what I think we celebrate day in, day out, what I know is conversations with this board, with the admin teams and with the teachers. It really comes down to the teachers, and the strength of our teachers is represented here so well in these results. Two pieces, though, that I think are worth going back to. One is the emotional regulation piece, right? We know this is important, and emotions have a significant place in our lived experience. You cannot deny that, right? And our emotional regulation often dictates our intellectual and academic success. When you feel dysregulated, you feel overwhelmed, it is impossible to learn. This was definitely an area for us to look at, to consider, to think about. And the good news is we are, right? This is at the crux and the heart of what we're doing in terms of ruler, second step, DBT, and thinking about it really in terms of continuity across the classroom and how we move it beyond just existing with the psychologists and the counselors, but really being held within our classrooms by our teachers and within our academic subjects at the secondary level. The other piece, and I think this is probably some of the most interesting, and if you look at the comparative data, it's very striking because while this might not seem is so out of the norm, when you look at social awareness, and in this case it's thinking about perspectives or considering the perspectives of others and empathizing with them, nationally, when you really start to pull the data out, this is where we have some potential for growth, great growth. And when you think about social awareness, this is about the ability and the capacity to engage in discourse, to engage in debate, to engage in disagreement, healthy, constructive, productive conversations within the classroom, outside of the classroom. We know that this is a challenge on a national landscape, on a global one. We also know that we're living in these algorithmic silos ourselves, and so many of us where we're often not hearing other perspectives. So more than anything, I think this piece has two aspects that we'll start to see surface, but to focus on as we go forward. One is within the classroom, really exploring the breadth of perspectives, challenging views, challenging our held understandings, and constructing and co-creating new understandings collectively. But the second piece is engaging our students outside of the classroom. And this is where I think our partnerships, looking for opportunities, right, moving beyond what you heard in terms of the club that was just highlighted, how we can engage students in service and conversations and lived experiences with other students. And that's something I think we can all look forward to with excitement and possibility. But these results are really static, right? They capture a moment. And there's opportunities to come back to these results and look at this moment, but there has been so much work that's been done this year. And I just want to use these last few minutes to highlight, three aspects of that work at each of the building levels. And I'd first like to invite up our building administrators at Ann Hutch, Ms. Capiello and Ms. Parisi, to talk a little bit about the work that they have been doing around SEL in particular, and I think you'll hear this piece about emotional regulation as well. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having us to share the great progress we've made with SEL at Ann Hutch. I'd like to echo what Dr. Meyer was saying about this is definitely the hardest thing to teach our youngsters, but we've been focusing a lot by deepening our work with Ruler, and so it doesn't sound as difficult, and it's very challenging. Ruler, for those who may not know, is recognizing emotions, understanding emotions, labeling emotions, expressing emotions, and then regulating the emotions. So ask a second grader to do all those things. It's quite challenging. Every classroom now uses our mood meter, and so the kids are, it's all over the building, so they're going from class to class, special to special, and they're seeing a mood meter where they're learning these skills. We have class charters to support students with identifying their emotions, and we've also introduced what's called the meta moment, and this is a strategy which helps students just think, pause before reacting when they're in a really challenging situation. We were really lucky this year because to further strengthen our work, Dr. Amy List joined our team. She's an SEL coach as part of the grant. She came in and worked really closely with our teachers, our students, and our monitors. She wanted to build really strong relationships between the staff and the students, and how do we connect? And then how do the students respond to positive behavior and ways to regulate their emotions? A significant portion of this training focused on our monitors, lunch and recess time, where SEL comes up every single day. And so this was a vital role in the students' daily lives. What is the emotion? What are you feeling? And how can we regulate that?
We're also fortunate to have a wonderful partnership with the Lukumi Foundation, led by Nick Katsouris. Through this collaboration, many of our fifth grade students have participated in impactful community service projects. They have danced for residents at a local nursing home, organized a school-wide food drive, and visited an animal shelter. At the school-wide food drive was especially impactful. The students packaged and even hand-delivered the goods to those in need. Mr. Katsouris has done research through Fordham University on these activities, and it's shown that these experiences not only benefit the recipients, but also foster greater self-esteem and a deeper sense of purpose in the students who are participating. Another highlight of our SEL work has been our monthly heart assemblies. These school-wide gatherings are led by our fifth grade heart ambassadors. They are led under the leadership of our school counselor, Mrs. Stone. They focus on our ethical habit of the month. This year's themes included kindness, gratitude, service, making good choices, and now we're in the unit of perseverance. After each assembly, classrooms receive a related book and participate in a school-wide activity. For example, making gratitude hearts for our school-wide tree, or participating in the food drive. These activities help reinforce the important values in a consistent and really meaningful and engaging way for our students. Looking ahead, we're excited to continue growing our SEL work. We plan to deepen students' understanding of the meta moment and introduce the blueprint, which is the next step in our ruler implementation plan. The blueprint is a tool that guides students through regulating emotions and resolving interpersonal challenges. The next phase of this implementation is especially meaningful as it aligns directly with what the Panorama data shows, that our students identified regulating emotions as an area of need. We're also looking forward to continuing our work with Dr. List to provide hands-on coaching and additional training, again, for our monitors, but also more of our support staff, special area teachers, so that everyone in our building is empowered to support our students' emotional development.
We just want to thank you for all the support. We're looking forward to working with the SEL coach again next year and deepening this work. We think it's really important. We see, the beginnings of great work from our students and our staff, so we're looking forward to continuing this work. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. I mean, it really speaks to what an incredible foundation. And one thing that was brought up that I would like to highlight is all of this is being funded through our RECUBS grant. This is the grant that we're a part of. It's a $2.2 million grant, and we're part of a consortium of districts here in Westchester. But I have to say, we're some of the most actively engaged in leveraging the financial resources of that grant. Not only paid for a lot of this coaching, it paid for the Panorama survey. It's also paid in terms of expanding our clinical support across the district with the onboarding of a social worker through the Source Center. So it's very exciting. But what's also exciting is to know it doesn't stop there. And another key piece and key organization I just want to highlight is the Save Promise Club. And this is a club at the middle school that's played such an important role in building a sense of community. Madeline's not here, so I think I can say we can all agree middle school's got to be the toughest time of anyone's life, right? It's not an easy road. We all know that. And to have organizations, to have teachers who really support the work and support intentionally the creation of community is so important and so integral to the experience of all the students. And Ms. Williams is one of those individuals. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Williams to speak about the work of the Promise Club, but also allow some of her students to speak as well.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ms. Williams, and I'm so honored to just represent the Save Promise Club at the middle school level. Save Promise Club, for anyone who doesn't know what it is exactly, it's a student-led initiative really focused on creating a safer, more connected school environment through kindness, awareness, and action. And about 3 years ago, I took over the club, and at the start of every year, after we do like icebreakers and get to know each other, we always start with a T-chart. And on one side of the T-chart, it says, what does our school need? And on the other side is, what can our club do to help? And, you know, students share things like, we need more kindness, or more connection, or just support for mental health, or just to feel like they belong, and that chart becomes our mission. And from it came a year of thoughtful student-led work that you can see all of these events are just from this year. And so we started with launching a buddy system that paired students based on shared interests, and which helped them build new friendships through weekly challenges. In March, which is Say Something Month, students were trained through the Sandy Hook Promise Say Something program, and they learned how to recognize the warning signs of someone who maybe might hurt themselves or someone else, how to act immediately, and talk to a trusted adult. And one of my favorite moments, I think, when it comes to that initiative is walking into a classroom, to a different teacher's classroom, and seeing a trusted adult certificate that's like hanging by their desk or something, given by a student. And I feel like it's a small sign that says, I feel safe here, which is really important. And to support mental health, we collaborated with Crafting Club just last week. We created mindful glitter bottles that's like at the bottom in the middle, which is a calming tool and conversation starter about self-care. And that partnership, even like across clubs, reminds us that unity across clubs in that way can spark creativity, healing, and just a stronger community. And we're not done yet. Like coming up, we're running our annual, like, guess how many Starbursts start in the jar kind of fundraiser as a part of Gun Violence Awareness Month, which is a fun and a symbolic activity that invites conversation and student engagement around a serious issue. And we're also hosting next week a Stand Together Spirit Week with daily events that are designed to like promote unity, belonging, and empowerment as we close out the year. Because June is Gun Violence Awareness Month, we want to end the school year just standing strong together in community, in awareness, and in care for one another. And so at this time, I'd love to invite a couple Save Club members to briefly share what this club has meant for them. So we have Avia, Jamie, and Max who are going to share a little bit about that now. So Avia, you can go.
Hello, my name is Avia Napier, and I'm part of the Save Promise Club. One event that stood out to me this year was our hot chocolate stand because it was nice to see everyone in our club excited for this event, which ended up fostering a strong sense of collaboration with one another. Also because it was fun to see students from all over the school show up and buy the hot cocoa. Save helped me understand how important it is to make relationships with new people and how much our actions impact one another either negatively or positively. I am proud to be part of a club that has a positive impact on students and teachers in our community. I'm also grateful that it helped me recognize adults that I can trust in our building. I was able to give a gratitude certificate to these teachers, which was encouraging. Thank you for listening.
And now we'll have Jamie share.
Hello, my name is Jamie Bergschneider. I'm in 6th grade and I'm a member of the Save Promise Club. One Save Club activity I enjoyed this year was creating the cultural slides. This project was about celebrating the diversity of other cultures. I really enjoyed designing and learning about other countries, as well as learning about what other traditions they have. I think that SAVE is a very important program for our school because it promotes the 4 E's: empower, educate, engage, and encourage. SAVE also helps students understand and recognize that they have a voice. SAVE really helped me with that. Thank you.
And lastly, we'll have Max share.
Good evening, Board of Education members. I hope you are doing well. My name is Max Gontrov, and I'm an 8th grader at East Chester Middle School and part of the Safe Promise Club. One event that really stuck out to me was the Say Something Week that we did a little while ago. This stuck out to me because many kids my age experience bullying or discrimination at school or outside of school. If you look at some statistics, we see that 1 in 3 students, or about 33% of students, experience bullying or report bullying, which is kind of crazy to think about. After being in Safe Club for 2 years, 1 year when I was a treasurer, it really helped me feel more confident speaking out in front of a group of people, as I would make many announcements to the 8th grade or 7th grade, or a teacher that I feared about something important or uneasy to talk about. To sum it up, I think 8th grade is a great club for anybody of any age and should continue to expand and help other kids. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, guys. So what you guys heard is what makes this club matter so deeply, in my opinion. I feel like Save Club isn't just a group. It's a shift in how we're treating one another, especially at the middle school, and it's students choosing to lead with courage and compassion and care, which is really important. So thank you guys for supporting Save Club. Thank you for always being willing to hear what we're doing, and just the student leaders like those behind me who are helping shape a safer, more connected school for everyone. So thank you so much for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you. And it's so powerful to hear from the students and to see the impact that peer-to-peer piece can have in terms of their own well-being and sense of connection. The final piece we want to touch on is the high school and the work that the high school is doing. And honestly, it could not be better timed as we look forward to the new schedule and we think about components like advisory, which it's one of its core missions is building that sense of community, both at a micro but also a macro level. And it's exciting to think about the work and the possibility taking place. I know that the leadership in the high school and Mr. Welsh and his APs have literally been building out every advisory. I've seen the calendar and the schedule. I mean, you guys see this guy work through schedules. He's no joke. And he literally is laying out week by week, meeting by meeting, grade-specific programming, school-wide assemblies. We're reaching out to speakers and places in which we can insert the ruler curriculum and support teachers in that work, just deepening this sense of connection and reflection across the whole building. And I think what was mentioned earlier by the students who just spoke is that idea of voice. Also offering students the opportunity not just to hear other voices, but for them to have an opportunity to speak through senior speaker series where they can come forth and speak about their own lived experiences and learning. So it's so exciting. But another piece of this, which has been in motion over the last several years, is the JCK Foundation. The JCK Foundation has been a huge component to supporting us in terms of the work of helping, in particular this year, our 9th grade transition, as well as our seniors as they head off to college. And JCK works to build that sense of community, to create these smaller opportunities for students to talk about some of their concerns, some of their stresses, but also to explore ways to address that. What's most exciting to me, and I'm excited in a moment to invite 2 individuals up, is the possibility and the work that's going forward to start the Legends Club. So the Legends Club exists in several other school districts, but this is an organization that really celebrates those core tenets of the JCK Foundation. And 2 individuals I'd like to invite up here are Ryan and Chris, 2 10th grade students and also 2 baseball stars, to speak about their work and their experience.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. I'm Ryan McGee, and this is Chris Castaldo, and we're happy to talk a little bit about JCK and the Legends Club. Last year, we had an assembly from John Tessitore, who is the founder of the JCK Foundation, which was founded in 2011 to honor the memory of John's friend, John Kelly, who passed away from mental health struggles. The JCK Foundation focuses on promoting the importance of mental health and how the bonds of a community can play a vital role in supporting the well-being of an individual. After speaking with John, the three of us, me, Chris, and Anthony, decided to start an EHS Legends Club with the goal of opening up the lines of communication between community members and students in order to foster support that can be beneficial to students dealing with mental health issues. We've had a few meetings throughout the year with John, Kevin, and Sydney from JCK, and have been brainstorming some ideas for the club to get running next year with even more members. So to kick off the promotion of the EHS Legends Club, we had our first ever JCK Legends baseball game on May 1st with JCK. During the game, there were messages on display promoting mental health awareness, and our players dedicated the game to their own positive life influencers. And those names were announced over the loudspeaker system during the game.
Yeah, so we also attended a dedication ceremony in Dobbsbury for the newly renovated Legends Court to remind people that there's always hope and nobody has to struggle alone, and we'll be joining JCK in a charity softball game this summer. So one of the major messages of the organization is that you're not alone. So and there's always someone to talk about if you have any problem you might be having. Like, people don't know what's always going on on the inside, but on the outside you might be acting fine, but nobody knows. Off the field or the court, you might be dealing with something else. We also hope next year to return with more ideas for fundraisers and events that will shine a spotlight on mental health. Oh yeah, so by the way, we won the game in true JCK spirit with a walk-off from being down 8-1, and hope this event gives our club momentum heading into the 25-26 school year. So this is serving as a reminder of East Chester commitment to raising awareness about mental health. Thank you.
Yeah, honestly, that game was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Not just a side note, they were down 8-1 and came back to win it with the walk-off. It was pretty amazing, but I think it just speaks to the general ethos and spirit of the work that they're doing, but also that general notion of the power of peer-to-peer relationships and creating spaces for voice, connecting, and communication. So this is it. You guys have been through a whirlwind, but this is sort of the last piece of the puzzle, and where do we go from here? And there's a lot of exciting work, and I think what's powerful about the Panorama survey is it gives us even greater direction and clarity about where we take that work forward. More than anything, without getting too caught up in the weeds, a couple key pieces is we're excited to rerun the survey next year, now that we have a benchmark, to see the impact that it's having in terms of the programming on our students, but we're also looking to expand the survey to include the staff as well, which we realize is a really important piece of this. We want to start to look at ways to embed the SEL indicators into our MTSS work so they can really provide that in poignant and specific ways for students who might be struggling. Obviously, the ongoing professional development piece is crucial, reaching out to families, parent universities, and continuing that engagement, and also those opportunities for students to engage in service. We heard what's taking place at the elementary level. We can see examples at the middle and high school, but really expanding that notion of not for self, but for other is probably one of the most powerful and healing forces. But the last piece I want to end on, and this is probably the most important, is building on our existing strengths. And I think at the same time as this being a strength, it's worth acknowledging that every strength can have a moment of challenge. And I think as a community, we've collectively experienced several moments of deep, deep challenge over the course of this year. And when it comes to relationships, at the bedrock of that is really that notion of trust. And there is no destination for this. It's not like you achieve these indicators and then you've mastered them and you move on. There's always ongoing work. And we know in terms of trust, it's our obligation as educators, as board members, as parents, is sometimes we have to pick up those pieces and help rebuild the trust within our community, within our schools, for our students. That is the strength of East Chester. It is the future of East Chester. And it's what I think we have to acknowledge is also the work of East Chester. So thank you so much this evening for the time. Thank you for everyone who presented. And any questions?
Bill, I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you are doing. I think that everything you presented about tonight, mental health, SEL work, is something that this board has really supported and had wanted to see for so long. And to see it all happening and come to life, I think is so exciting for us. Just one quick question. The Save Promise Club, love that. When I first started on the board is when we first started our partnership with Sandy Hook Promise. And it started off slowly with just the anonymous tip line. And now to see the Save Promise Club and all the work that they are doing is so exciting. Are there any plans to expand that to any of the other schools, particularly the high school?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I just had a call with them last week, and we were talking about both expanding it downward and upward. So the 4th and 5th grade as appropriate developmentally, but also into the high school. And it's that, and I think there's so many layers, and Miss Williams, I mean, she captured it. Way to take the work to another level. But it's not just about that one piece in terms of the origins of the organization. It's really about building these relationships and this sense of community. So we had a lot of conversations. They actually have been incredible in supporting even PD work we've done here. And all of it is really pro bono. That's what's so amazing about the Sandy Hook Promise. I mean, I remember having a conversation with them and asking them, like, how much do we owe you for this? And it's completely funded through donation and through a sincere and authentic interest in serving students and really changing the paradigm that currently exists within our schools around safety. But safety is not just physical, it's emotional. It's that whole other piece, intellectual. So I think what's going on at the middle school is really a beacon for what we can do across the district.
I was just going to say, Bill, I'm really excited to see the work that's being done at the high school level to kind of build relationships, community, and I'm really looking forward to the Legends Club and how that's going to evolve and the membership that's going to be adopted internally and the results that will come from that. I think it's really important, and I think it's great that the Save Promise Club, I look at it, I mean, there's so much foundational work that's happening at the elementary school, then you hit the middle school, more work that's taking place, and then it just ties right into the high school, which is just those building blocks that we've been waiting for, and it's phenomenal. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to reiterate that, it's not that we need something new. We just need to continue to grow what we're doing. And I think that in itself will have really profound impacts in terms of what we're looking for our students.
So Bill, just to piggyback off of what Christy said, my question about the Legends Club is, it sounds like they're sort of a startup, but what more do they need? Like, what can the board do to assist them? And I know they kind of ran out, but
They
Yeah,
went
that's
to
a
go
great
study.
question.
They have exams tomorrow. So they
Yeah,
leave.
they do. It's tough to get them here.
Yes.
That's for sure. These guys are super, super busy. But I think in terms of the Legends Club, I know that the admin team at the high school is fully behind them, and we're going to bring this thing to life. We've already identified an advisor for that club. There's already interest. They've run several different events, but obviously their kickoff event was a huge piece. But what's so exciting is we're already scheduling next year with JCK for when they're going to come back in the fall to work with our 9th graders, and to have that club in place will just build more continuity between when they come and the work that's going on in the day-to-day. So
do you foresee any collaboration like with the town rec sports to expand it?
I could see a lot of different ways that this could go, and I know that both JCK as well as those three guys, or there's three of them, are really open to ideas and have done amazing stuff in just this short time. So it could be great.
Thank you.
I'll pass that on.
Bill, I just have a couple of quick comments, I promise, and maybe a question. One thing that I saw that you had up there was family well-being nights, and one thing that strikes me when you look at the grades and how closely aligned those percentages are, so much of this actually starts at home, and the tools that families are being equipped with, teachers, the admin can only take it so far. Is there any plans in terms of a calendar of those events? I know this past year we had a couple of things sprinkled in, but what do you envision some of those family well-being nights, content-wise, cadence, how often, et cetera, if you're even there yet?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, we've been having conversations about next year's calendar, thinking about those evenings, what they're going to look like. But I think there's going to be so many rich opportunities. What I would love to see is like third Thursdays or something consistent of the month when families know that there will be an opportunity if they want to jump on a webinar to learn. And one of the first ones is going to be cell phones, right? We know that
perfect.
policy is coming, and that's going to fold into a real impact. But we need to talk about the why around cell phones, and we can think about a lot of the indicators that are surfacing here in these results. That's about connection, right? Engaging with each other in really meaningful ways. And that cell phone piece, the social media component, the distraction, I think we have to be very intentional. And I know as a team, we're thinking about that work and how to roll it out. But you hit the nail on the head, which is the results really speak to the power of family, right? And we know a lot of families have students in multiple buildings, which speaks for why we have such high correlation between our elementary and secondary level. So if we can reach families, if we can offer engaging messages, and we can offer compelling reasons why this work impacts all of the work, I think it would be a huge success, and we'll start to see that next year for sure.
That's great, thank you. I think the consistency around that is fantastic. And a little bit of a plug for Ms. Williams, I would love to see you actually present at one of these family nights. I think the work that you're doing and how you took a baseline and kicked that up is exactly what parents need to hear directly to be able to reinforce some of that work in their home. So thank you for doing that. But again, not sure what's on the calendar. Would love to maybe see you present at one of those.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'll turn it back to Dr. Valenti.
Okay, Dr. Meyer, thank you very much. Just a couple of closing comments. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but Chandra visibly began to shake when you asked the question, how much do we owe a certain vendor? It's zero, Chandra, don't worry. Just for the record, the district safety plan for 25-26 has been added to the safety page on our district website. The plan will remain on the site for public comment for 30 days before being voted on for adoption by the Board of Education, probably at the reorg meeting. So just a note on that. And on that, are there any other questions or comments from the board?
I think we're good, Dr. Valenti.
Okay, cell phone policy, we will be adopting that at the June 17th board meeting, once we've had a final meeting with our administrative representatives and a group of board officers. Okay?
Dr. Valenti, just very quickly before we wrap, I know we spoke last meeting about the governor's new food program.
Yes.
Details, et cetera, on that next board meeting, perhaps? I know it's a beefy meeting.
Yes, in fact.
No
you
pun
should-
intended.
No, you should know. Chandra has been spending a lot of time on the application, and it's and ready to go, right, Chandra? We're completed, yep. We had a very good meeting today with our school principals to talk through the logistics. What would it exactly look like at Ann Hutch, at Greenvale, at the middle and the high school? What I can report from today's meeting is that if we're going to go into this the right way, we ought to look at new ovens and refrigerators and equipment at each of our schools.
Now Shonda's really twitching.
She's really, I know,
just saw.
this will visibly shake her. But no, we are sitting on a certain amount of money, which is the cafeteria fund, and it is there for a specific purpose to upgrade the cafeteria equipment at each of the schools. So we're going to be looking for cost figures very shortly with the regional manager, and we want to move expeditiously on that so that each of the schools has a well-functioning kitchen. That should not be a hindrance to making this work effectively. There are a number of logistical issues that are a little trickier. Serving breakfast at the elementary school is a mountain that we're beginning to climb. Lunch is an easier phenomenon at all the schools. Breakfast is easier at the middle and the high school than the elementary schools. So that's going to be the challenge, and we need to get logistical about that. Robert? Okay.
So we'll just get to that point, Dr. Lundy, we'll just get more details, because I can imagine breakfast, I know we spoke even like grab and go, the supervision aspect, et cetera.
Right. We covered the waterfront on that this morning. I think we came to some agreement. There are issues of supervision that have to be dealt with. So we need to find some additional bucks, and also the supervisors willing to do it. The grab and go is an important part of it, so there is equity. Don't forget, we have 3 types of students who come to the elementary school every morning. You have the type who walk, the type who are dropped off by parents or grandparents or nannies, and then the third type who are dropped off by buses. All of them arrive at essentially separate times, some overlapping. So we have the wherewithal to accommodate probably best our walkers and parents who want to drop students off a little bit earlier. If we were to have breakfast, let's say from 7:45 in the morning to 8:05, would that work for all of our, at least Ann Hutch and Greenvale? It would work for the 2 groups, but the bus group is going to be a little bit tight. So we need to work out and fine tune
Fair
that,
enough.
just to give you a preview of
Great.
what we're working our way through.
Awesome.
Okay.
Looking forward to seeing it. Thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, administrators, very much. And end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Valenti. So since this is a work session, there is no public comments. Our future meeting date is June 17th, and that will be a regular meeting. And at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Sean, second. Christie, all in favor? All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.